Okay, so let us continue our solution to exercise 4.3.4. So here we are, recall that we are proving proposition 4.3.12, properties of exponentiation 2. We have already proved parts A and B of that proposition, so now we will prove parts C and D. Let us recall what part C says. Part C asserts that if x and y are positive rational numbers and n is a non-zero integer, then x to the power n equal to y to the power n. This statement, this equality implies x is equal to y. We have to prove this. Now we will prove two cases of this separately, one when n is positive and the other when n is negative. We prove the positive case first, and there also we won't prove this equality, this implication itself, but rather we will prove its contrapositive, namely this one. And in proving this one, we will apply induction on n. So that is our strategy. Okay, so first assume n to be greater than 0. Let's prove this by induction on n. Okay, so the base case is n equal to 1, and you can see that when n is 1, the conclusion of this implication is x not equal to y, which is the same as the hypothesis of the implication. So in this case, the implication is trivially true. When n is equal to 1, the above implication is trivially true. So we now assume the induction hypothesis, and then we carry out the induction step. For some positive integer n, we now have, this will be not equal to. We now have to prove this similar implication where in place of n we have n plus 1. So for that, let's just start by assuming the hypothesis. Let x be not equal to y. So then either x is less than y or y is less than x by trichotomy of rational numbers. And we can assume without loss of generality that x is less than y. Okay, now we are going to use part B of this proposition itself, which we have already proved in the previous video. Then by part B above, we have this. What was part B? Let's just recall it quickly. Part B says two things, but we need only one of them. It says that if x and y are rational numbers that satisfy these inequalities and n is a positive integer, then these inequalities are true. Note that here we have strict inequality in the actual statement of part B of this proposition, but here we have less than or equal to. Now, how are we using part B here? X less than y implies x is also less than or equal to y. The converse is not true. If x is given to be less than or equal to y, then you cannot immediately conclude that x is less than y, because x may be equal to y also. This direction, however, is true, and it is given that both x and y are positive rational numbers. So we already have this. So we are able to use this part B to conclude these inequalities, and note that in these inequalities here we don't have strict inequality. Part B does not give us that. Part B only tells us that the powers x to the power n and y to the power n are both positive. That much it says. Okay. Also, but we have used part B here. We also have our induction hypothesis. Since x is not equal to y, x to the power n will be not equal to y to the power n. Also, by the induction hypothesis, this is not equal to y to the power n. Now we have strict inequality because of this inequality less than y to the power n. Now x to the power n plus 1, this by definition is x to the power n times x, which is less than y to the power n times x. The question is why? You look at this inequality, this second one. Since x is a positive rational number, by the property which says that multiplication by a positive rational number preserves inequality, that thing, we can multiply both sides by x, thus giving us x to the power n times x less than y to the power n times x, because x and y are both positive rational numbers. So this inequality is justified. Similarly, you can write y to the power n times y. Now, what has happened here? Here you look at this inequality and multiply on both sides by y to the power n. Can you do that? Yes, you can do that, because y to the power n is a positive rational number. So this last inequality is also justified, and this is nothing but y to the power n plus 1. So x to the power n plus 1 is strictly less than y to the power n plus 1. In particular, it means that these two are not equal. Hence, is not equal to y to the power n plus 1. So we started by assuming x and y to be different rational numbers, and we ended up proving this. So that means we have proved this implication, where in place of n we have n plus 1. So that completes the induction. this completes the induction. We have thus equivalently proved that for any positive integer n, x to the power n equal to y to the power n implies x is equal to y, because this is just the contrapositive of this statement, and we know that a statement, I mean an implication and its contrapositive are logically equivalent. If one of them is true, then so is the other. Okay, so this is the case when n is positive. Now we look at the case when n is negative. Next, assume n to be less than 0. Here we don't have to consider the contrapositive. We can prove it directly using this case itself. Let x to the power n be equal to y to the power n. We need to prove that x is equal to y, but keeping in mind now that n is negative. Since minus n is positive, by what we have already proved above, we conclude this. This would imply that x and y are equal. Note that every implication is a conditional statement. If the it means if the hypothesis is true, then the conclusion is true. Now we need the conclusion. Okay, we need to prove that x is equal to y. So if we can now show that the hypothesis is true, then the conclusion follows from this implication, because the implication is true. We have already proved it before. Now, is this hypothesis true? Yes, the hypothesis is true, and that comes from here. Now, x to the power n equal to y to the power n implies x to the power minus n equal to 1 by x to the power n. This is equal to 1 by y to the power n, and in writing this equality we have used this. This is equal to y to the power minus n. Hence, x is equal to 1. So when n is negative, then also the implication is true. So this completes the proof of part C. And finally, part D. Here we have to prove this. For all integers n, we already have this result proved for us in proposition 4310 part D, when n is a non-negative integer, that is when n is a natural number. So we only need to look at the case where n is negative, and we have to mention this also. The identity follows from proposition 4310D when n is a natural number. Now assume n to be a negative integer, then this is equal to, since n is negative, the definition of x to the power n is this, and this is equal to 1 by absolute value of x to the power minus n. Now because minus n is positive, so we can use this case which we already have from proposition 4310D. So this will be equal to 1 by this whole to the power minus n, and this is nothing but to the power n, again by definition of exponentiation where the exponent is negative. The only place where it seems like we have confusion is this equality. How can we suddenly bring the absolute value with the to the denominator? And the answer to that is multiplicativity of absolute value. Recall that result when we proved basic properties of absolute value and distance in a previous result. There we came across this identity that if we have two rational numbers x and y, then this is equal to xy. Now 1 is a rational number whose absolute value is equal to 1, because 1 is a positive rational number, and it can be, 1 can be written like this: x to the power minus n times 1 by x to the power minus n. That's the definition of reciprocal. I mean that is the property, one of the properties of reciprocal, and this is by this identity equal to this. So now you can, since x to the power minus n is non-zero, so its absolute value is also non-zero by non-degeneracy of absolute value. So we can divide both sides by the reciprocal of this rational number. Doing so, we get this. So that's how that identity is coming. And this completes the solution to this exercise. So we can now move on to the next one. The next one is the last exercise of this set of exercises, and it's this. Four, 3, 5. Prove that two to the power n is greater than or equal to n for all positive integers n, and there is a hint also. A hint is nothing but use induction. Now instead of proving this inequality, we will prove a slightly stronger one, namely the one that asserts that 2 to the power n is actually strictly greater than n. For all positive integers n. And in this proof we will use induction. Okay. Note that two to the power 1, which is 2, is greater than 1. So the inequality is true when n is equal to 1. Assume this for some positive integer n. Then what about 2 to the power n plus 1? By the rules of exponent, this is 2 times 2 to the power n, because this is 2 to the power 1 times 2 to the power n. And we can use the induction hypothesis, so this will be greater than 2 times n. In other words, you can multiply on both sides of this inequality by 2. 2 is a positive rational number, so it won't change the inequality, change the sense of the inequality. Now 2n is equal to n plus n, and n being a positive integer is greater than or equal to 1, so this is greater than or equal to n plus 1. Addition preserves order, hence we have a strict inequality here, so that will be maintained. This is greater than n plus 1. So this completes the induction. And it proves the result also, or completes the exercise. This exercise actually is later used in many situations in our calculations that are analytic in nature. So with this set of exercises ends. After this we will go to section 4.4, which studies gaps in the system of rational numbers. So I end the video here. So in the next video we will start section 4.4.